You know, in an age that's just packed with tech revolutions, there's one story that really stands out. And it's not just about a company. It's about the engine that's building our future. An empire built on a vision so crazy, it was almost guaranteed to fail. Okay, let's dive into this.
I mean, just look around. From self-driving cars to how we diagnose diseases, artificial intelligence is changing our world, and it's happening so fast it's hard to keep up. Every big tech company, every research lab, every startup, they're all in this massive arms race to build what's next.
But here's the part almost no one realizes. This entire global revolution, this multi-trillion-dollar race, is pretty much running on the super complex, super powerful computer chips made by just one single company.
And yet, that company is Nvidia. Its story isn't just about making a ton of money, it's the story of how one man's relentless vision literally built the foundation for the modern world.
So, how on earth did this happen? How did a company whose grand vision was literally sketched out on a napkin in a Denny's become the one thing that AI can't live without? Well, the answer starts with its founder, Jensen Huang.
To really get Nvidia, you first have to understand the man who basically willed it into existence. A guy whose journey started not in some fancy Silicon Valley boardroom, but with real hardship and honestly the brink of total failure.
So Jensen Huang came to the US as a kid, and through a pretty wild misunderstanding, his uncle signed him and his brother up for what he thought was a fancy prep school. Turns out it was actually a reform academy for troubled kids in the middle of nowhere, Kentucky. So here's this young kid surrounded by tough, sometimes violent teenagers, and he just had to learn how to survive, how to adapt, how to be tough.
And that experience, it forged his entire philosophy. He truly believes that greatness isn't about being the smartest person in the room. It comes from character, from enduring and overcoming suffering. And that resilience would become the absolute cornerstone of his company. So back in 1993, at just 30 years old, Huang and two friends met at that Denny's and started Nvidia. The goal was simple: make amazing computer graphics for video games. But it did not go smoothly. By 1996, the company was about to go under. Their first chip was a dud, and they had to break a huge contract with the gaming giant Sega. Huang had to lay off half of his people. They had just enough money left for one last shot, so they bet everything on a brand new chip. It was a total Hail Mary, and it worked. It was an instant hit, and it pulled the company back from the brink.
But just saving the company wasn't the goal. To really win, Huang was about to make a bet so completely bonkers, so far ahead of its time, that pretty much everyone thought he was nuts. He decided to build products for a market that didn't even exist.
Okay, so for decades, computers got faster by following what's called Moore's Law. Think of it like a single brilliant person solving one hard problem at a time, just getting a little faster every year. But Huang saw that this way of doing things was about to hit a wall. So he bet the entire company on a totally different idea: parallel computing. Instead of one brilliant worker, imagine an army of thousands, where each one tackles a tiny piece of the problem all at the same time. It was a huge, completely counterintuitive gamble.
Now, this analogy is just perfect. For years, Nvidia was busy building these incredibly powerful paralleled processors, the propellers, mostly for the gaming world. Meanwhile, tucked away in university labs, a small group of AI researchers were building these theoretical models, the gliders. They had the idea for AI, but they had no engine to make it fly. They needed a crazy amount of computing power that just didn't exist, until they found Nvidia.
And this just nails Huang's strategy. He started pouring billions into building tools specifically for these AI researchers, this tiny community of what people called mad scientists. He was investing a fortune into a market that, at the time, was worth nothing. He famously called it his $0 billion market. You can bet Wall Street absolutely hated it. But Huang, he was playing a much, much longer game.
And that long game was about to pay off in a way that nobody, probably not even Huang, could have possibly imagined. See, he wasn't just in the right place at the right time. He had deliberately built the place where the future was about to happen.
Even as the company got bigger and bigger, Huang created this culture of insane urgency. He would famously tell his team that they were always 30 days from bankruptcy. Now, this wasn't a financial reality. It was a mindset. It was a constant reminder that in the tech world, if you're not paranoid and relentlessly innovating, you're dead.
And then, in 2012, the propeller finally met the glider.
A small team of researchers figured out that an Nvidia gaming card, which was designed to draw thousands of pixels all at once, was perfect for running thousands of calculations for an AI model. They slapped two of them together, trained a network called AlexNet, and the results were just mind-blowing. It completely shattered all the records for image recognition. The mad science had actually worked. Huang's bet on parallel computing was about to change everything.
After that moment, everything changed. Demand for Nvidia's chips just went vertical. The company that almost went bankrupt became the essential supplier for the entire AI gold rush. I mean, look at this. Its valuation just exploded from $100 billion in 2017 to over $1 trillion just 6 years later, and it's on a path to an absolutely staggering $5 trillion.
And today, the result of that decade-long bet is crystal clear. Nvidia doesn't just compete in the market for AI chips, it is the market. It controls something like 85% of the hardware that powers practically every major AI system on the planet.
But for a guy like Jensen Huang, completely dominating the current AI revolution is really just the beginning. Now he's using that power to build the next one.
Huang believes the next big thing is what he calls physical AI. He sees a world where cars, drones, factory robots, even humanoid robots don't just crunch numbers in a data center. They'll actually perceive, reason, and act in the real world. And his plan? For every single one of them to have an Nvidia brain inside.
So, what can we take away from this absolutely incredible story? Well, first, have the guts to bet on $0 billion markets, the futures that nobody else sees. Second, remember that resilience, the kind you get from real hardship, is way more valuable than just being smart. Third, always keep that sense of urgency. And finally, go find the smartest people working on the hardest problems and build the tools that will let them change the world.
When you step back, the story of Nvidia is really a lesson in the power of a single, unwavering vision. It's a journey that starts in a diner booth and ends up in the $5 trillion engine room of a global revolution. It's the ultimate proof that the future doesn't just happen to us. It gets built, one impossible bet at a time.
And that leaves us with one last, really big question. Nvidia has built the engine. They're giving us the power for a whole new generation of thinking, moving, autonomous machines. So the question isn't really what these machines can do anymore. The real question is, what are we going to ask them to do?